Welcome to the Total Wealth Academy radio show, where wealth includes much more than just money. It includes family, fitness, romance, and all the other parts of a balanced life. Listen and learn how 70% of the millionaires in America made their money using real estate. Now your host, real estate investor and consultant, Steve Davis.
Hello and welcome to the Total Wealth Academy radio show. I am your host, Steve Davis, where as always, we're here working hard to improve our financial IQ, to improve our financial literacy. And it's all based off of the understanding that high school and college don't teach you anything about building wealth. They teach you how to get a job, and that's about it. But as I say, they do a good job. In other words, high school and college are important. The concept that usually works is that the higher your educational level, the higher your pay. And that works most of the time. But if you're going to become wealthy, or the term I like to use is financially independent, I also interchange that word with retirement. But that retirement word comes with a warning that I've done it twice in my life, and both times it sucked. Retirement is not what it's cracked up to be. Many people, this is their goal in life. I want to get old and retire. Both those things suck. Yet that's what the average person's goal is. I want to get old and retire. Then I'll start enjoying life. And that concept is so wrong. So wrong. I can tell you this right now. A lot of you think that when you retire, you're going to start traveling, you're going to start playing tennis, you're going to start playing golf, you're going to do all these, and there's no other word for it, self-centered or selfish things. And that's going to be the rest of your life. It doesn't work. About 3 months into all that selfish stuff, you're going to be like, really? This is all there is? This is it? This was my goal? People, unfortunately, don't understand that we are hardwired to help and serve other people. We get the most joy, the most laughter, the most adventure, the most passion when we're helping and serving other people. When you retire, that stops. You're not doing anything anymore. You're just doing selfish stuff. It gets old quick. If you think back to the happiest times of your life so far, wasn't it when you were doing really well at work? Wasn't it when you had a passionate, loving relationship with your spouse? Do you realize both of those things are helping and serving other people? That's what they are. When you have a healthy, passionate marriage, it's because you're serving that other person. You're doing things for them. Love is a verb. It's when you're loving them. This could be something as simple as taking out the garbage, keeping the cars clean, taking care of the lawn, to something as complex as romance and sex. You're doing something for the other person. And those are your happiest times. If you look back at your job, your career, remember those times when you were excelling? Weren't you helping and serving more people than usual? And that's why it seemed so much fun? In other words, you weren't just hitting your quota. You were going beyond your quota. You weren't just helping the number of people that were required to keep your job. You were helping dozens more. And as a result, you made more money. And as a result, you were happier. You're killing it at work. You got this great relationship with your spouse. You're serving. When you retire, a big chunk of that goes away. And I read statistics. White male life expectation in retirement is something like 3 years. I honestly believe that when you lose your purpose, you lose that reason for living, that you die. Retirement is, what's the next thing after retirement? Death. Which is another funny reason why people want to get old and retire. Because the next step is death. That's not the goal. The goal is financial independence. Financial independence. When you're no longer dependent on a job for your income. That's the goal. Yet nobody seems to know that, and nobody is taking action steps towards that goal. They're all taking action steps towards retirement and getting old. The wealthy are doing it differently. The wealthy focus on financial independence, which has nothing to do with age. Deepak Chopra, author of the book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, phenomenal book, told his kids, don't worry about doing well in high school now. Pay attention to this because you're going to think he lost his mind. Don't worry about doing well in high school. Don't worry about going to college. If you can't take care of yourselves, I got enough money to take care of you for the rest of your lives. What I want you to do is focus on why you're here on this planet. He told his kids to think, how are you here to help and serve other people? Both of his kids were financially independent before they graduated college. And by the way, they got the best grades in high school, got the best grades in college. But their focus was not on retirement. Their focus was on helping and serving other people and financial independence. So the question comes down to, why does the middle class in America have a different map? Why doesn't everybody have the map that the rich have? We'll talk about that when we come back from the break here on the Total Wealth Academy radio show. Thanks for listening.
The stock market was never designed to build wealth. It was designed to keep up with inflation. The average rate of return over the last 75 years is about 7%. You'll get that even with the ups and downs. If you want a higher rate of return and less volatility, consider real estate. We make about 3 times as much as the stock market. Please attend our free sample class to learn more. Go to TotalWealthAcademy.com. That is TotalWealthAcademy.com for reservations. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Total Wealth Academy radio show. Before we go into this concept of why do the rich have a different financial map than the middle class, I want to take a phone call, but keep that in the back of your mind. There are multiple maps to success. Some of them work, some of them don't. We'll discuss that when we come back from this call. Let's go to the phone lines now, which are open at 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. And don't worry about interrupting me or asking a question that's not on the subject I'm discussing. I'd rather answer phone calls than just, preach. So let's go to the phone lines and talk to Rick in Houston. Rick, how are you today?
Hey, I enjoy your preaching.
Thank you. It's very kind of you.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question about subject to and wholesaling?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I've got a deal I'm working on right now. And so my general question is, I want to wholesale this property. I'm trying to think of how to structure the contract, and maybe I'm getting into the weeds on this, but so there's a certain amount that needs to be paid to reinstate the mortgage on this property. It's $24,000. So when I have my contract, I guess my question is, will that $24,000 be built into the sales price and then paid at closing, or will the sales price not include the $24,000 reinstatement fee for the mortgage?
Yeah, I would include it to keep it simple.
Okay.
Get everything on your closing documentation, and I would try to sell it to, someone who's going to get a mortgage. That way, they don't have to come out with the full $24,000. They just have to put their down payment. But how much is this house worth? How much do you think you can sell it for? And how much is total, counting the $24,000 owed on the house?
Okay. And the ARV is, I'm going to say it's $90,000.
Okay.
And it's a small 600 square foot condo. I talked to you about it before the hurricane, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's got 13 years left on the mortgage at 6.5% interest. Monthly payment, pretty cheap. It's about $500. And then there's $285 a month in the homeowners
TWA.
association fee, which includes insurance, property and casualty on the structure, not on the content. So you're looking at $285 plus $500 a month would be the monthly payment, including the HOA dues. So there's 13 years left at 6.5% interest. That's why I was thinking this would be a good opportunity for someone who's into subject to properties. What else can I tell you? $24,000 to reinstate.
Yeah, my worry is that $24,000 up front that's got to be paid. That kind of kills it as a subject to, unless you find somebody, which you could, Rick. I'm not saying this doesn't happen. It's just a little more difficult to find somebody who's going to come up with your finder's fee and the $24,000 plus whatever repairs. That's all going to have to come out of pocket. Whereas if you sold it to somebody that was an investor, hard money loan, the loan would cover the balance on the mortgage, the $24,000, the repairs, and your finder's fee.
Right. Last time I think you mentioned you can get a 75% hard money loan, which would be $67,500, assuming $90,000 ARV.
Yeah.
Repair cost is pretty cheap. It's about $6,000. So anyway, as far as the contract, selling to someone who's a subject to investor, it's best to include the reinstatement amount in the sales price. And plus,
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So if you sell it to them for, let's say you go for the full thing, the $67,000, I'd get them to sign the contract to buy it from you for $67,000. And then you would have your contract. So this would be a double close, Rick, would be the simplest, where it's all done the same day, same title company. Any title company can handle a double close. So you would close your deal at whatever it is plus the 24, and then you would sell it in the next office for $67,000, and you'd walk away with a check.
Now, I did that about 10, 15 years ago, but my understanding now, as of last year, that when you're wholesaling properties, you have to disclose to the seller that you have the option to reassign this property and take an assignment fee. So I guess is it still necessary to do a double close? I mean, if you do a double close, you're going to have to pay 2 title insurance policies, from what I understand.
Yeah, the complexity here is you should, since this is your first subject to you've ever tried. Well, it's not going to be a subject to. Yeah, do me a favor, Rick. Fire me an email. Okay. I want to ask my attorney a couple of questions on this deal.
Okay.
And then I'll get back with you. It's just Steve at TotalWealthAcademy.com. Okay. And I know who you are. You're a member.
Right. Yeah, I'm the smart, good-looking guy. So.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, let me talk to Glenn and just make sure, because even if you do a double close, you can disclose what you're paying for it.
Yeah. And
there wouldn't be any, but, you know, like you said, you got to pay double title insurance. But I tell you what, even if you did, with this deal, Rick, I wouldn't even worry about it. You're going to make some good money off this deal because, like I said the other day, this is a home run deal.
Yeah, I mean, but I want the seller to have some money in his pocket to move on with his life too. So,
gotcha.
But the benefit of a double close from last time I did wholesaling 10 years ago was to keep the buying sell price confidential. And now, and you can ask your attorney, hopefully you can ask your attorney, now the requirement being to disclose that as a wholesaler that you're going to reassign it. And
what I'm going to ask him is I'm going to ask, can he do a double close and not disclose his purchase price, or does he have to wholesale the deal and disclose his purchase price? Mm-hmm. Once we figure that out, then you'll be able to move forward.
Gotcha. Any particular title company you recommend for wholesaling?
What I would do, generally the seller chooses the title company. Do they not have a preference?
Seller has no preference at all.
Yeah, then go into the members area. I think it's go into the members area of the website, go into the vendor program and look up title companies. Forgive me because they all sound the same, American Title, Texas American Title. I can't remember who we use on a regular basis.
Okay.
Because I'm mostly into commercial.
Gotcha.
But they'll be there.
Gotcha. Okay, super. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Rick. I'll look for your email. Okay, phone lines are open, 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV. So we're talking about how the wealthy are teaching their kids differently than the poor and the middle class. And the one thing I want to make sure doesn't come across as I'm putting down the poor and middle class. I grew up poor and middle class. I'm not putting them down. It's just that the rich teach things differently because they know different things. The poor and middle class love their kids just as much as the rich do, but they don't know. They just don't know what to teach them. And it comes down to this analogy. I want you to pretend like there's a map to success. Just like a map to the city, there's a map to success. And what happens is from the time we're old enough to walk, people start giving us their map to success. And the first people that do it are generally our parents. From the time we're old enough to walk, they start telling us, work real hard in high school, try to get into college, go to college, get a degree, get out, get a job with a major corporation with high pay and good benefits. Then what you do is you work for 45 years and scrimp and save, put your money in the stock market, in IRAs and 401ks. Do that for 45 years and save up a big chunk of money. Retire and live off your savings. Now, does that map sound familiar to you? It does. It's the map we're all given. Again, first by our parents. Then when we get into high school, our high school counselors and teachers give us the exact same map. Then we get to college. If we're lucky, we get to college. Guess what your counselors and professors tell you? The same exact thing. Then when you get a job, what does your boss tell you? The same exact thing. Work for 45 years, scrimp and save, retire, and live off your savings. Here's the problem. That map doesn't work. 95%, let me say that number again so nobody thinks I made a mistake. 95% of Americans fail to successfully retire by 65 after working 45 years. The map doesn't work. And one of two things will make people wake up to realize that. If you're lucky like I was, I had a financial catastrophe at a young age. At 27, my company cut my pay by 20 grand a year. And that woke me up that my map wasn't working. Other people wait till midlife, 35 to 40. And yes, midlife is 35 to 40, not 50, 55. You're not. If you're 55, 60, you're not middle-aged, you're old. Sorry, I'm 59. It's old. When we come back from the break, I'll talk about those two junctures where people wake up and what people do that is completely ineffective. This is the Total Wealth Academy radio show. Thanks for listening.
There's an old joke. When is the best time to buy real estate? 20 years ago. When is the second best time? Today. And this is truer than ever with the impending recession and the correction that's going on right now. Real estate investors are going to make millions of dollars in the next few years because of the recession. You should take advantage of it as well. To find out how, please attend our free sample class to learn more. Go to TotalWealthAcademy.com. TotalWealthAcademy.com. Just click on the free sample class button. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Total Wealth Academy radio show. I am your host, Steve Davis, where we're talking about what most people do when they realize they're not in the financial position that they want to be in, or they have a financial catastrophe like a pay cut or a layoff, and that makes them wake up and question what they're doing with their lives. But I want you to think about this. Let's say you're 42. You've worked for 20 years, some of you more than that. That's almost half of your 45 years. But people wake up and they're 42 and they realize they're not in the financial position that they want or need to be in. And they begin to question it. But here's what they do that's extremely ineffective. They blame themselves. They blame themselves. They say things like, I'm not smart enough. That's why I'm not in the financial position I want to be in. That's why this map is not working. So they get another degree from a university or maybe a master's degree. You know, the first degree didn't work, but the second one will. Other people will say, again, blaming themselves, I'm not working hard enough. So they take a second job or start working 60, 70 hours a week. That's what I did. I went to 70 hours a week. Other people will blame themselves another way. They'll say, it's my attitude. I'm not motivated. So they take motivational courses and they work on their attitude. But here's the problem. All these things can possibly do, getting another degree, working harder, taking motivational courses, all those things can possibly do is get you to the wrong place faster. Because the problem is not with you. The problem is with the map. Guess where the people that gave us that map, they gave us the map to success, right? parents, high school teachers, college professors, bosses. They give us the map to success. Guess where none of them have ever been? Success. Think about it. Were your parents multimillionaire entrepreneurs? No? How about your high school teachers? Your college professors? Were they multimillionaire entrepreneurs when they gave you that map to success? They weren't, were they? Is it not possible that they gave you the wrong map? This one's disturbing, but do you know where your college professors are right now? Your high school teachers? Retiring broke. How about your parents? Are they retiring successfully? They're not, are they? The map doesn't work. You can't blame yourself. It's the map. We've all been told the wrong things to do, and we went out and did them. Successfully, I might add. We successfully did the wrong things. See, the rich have a different map. They're teaching their kids differently. When I was brought up, as I mentioned, I was given that map we just discussed. Work hard in high school, work hard in college, get a job, scrimp and save for 45 years, retire and live off your savings. But I got off that map and became wealthy. So do you think I'm teaching my children that map? I want you to think about that deeply. Do you think I'm teaching my children or taught my children to get a job and work for 45 years, retire and live off your savings? Absolutely not. See, when my son and daughter turned 8, I gave them a copy of the most important financial book I've ever read, The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. And I told them, happy birthday. Here's a copy of The Richest Man in Babylon. Gave my son a Lego and said, son, please read this book and be aware you need a second stream of income. Now go play with your Lego and have fun. And he did. When he turned 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, I reminded him, son, you need a second stream of income. 17, 18. Son, wow, congratulations, you got into college. But don't forget, you need a second stream of income. By the time my son graduated college, he had 11 rent houses and $4,000 a month in second stream of income and lived in one of the units for free. Now, many of you are going, oh, your son must be super brilliant, super hardworking. Yep. So are you. So are you. You're just as brilliant as him. You're probably as hardworking. Some of you are harder working. It wasn't the brilliance. It wasn't the hard work. It was that he had the right map. It's the map that makes the difference. And all we do, if you really summarize what Total Wealth Academy does, when a person signs up, we immediately give them the complete map to building a second stream of income. We give them the map that the rich are teaching their kids that the poor and middle class can't. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not that they don't want to teach you the right things to do. They can't. They've never done it. So you don't want to be mad at your parents, your high school teachers, your college professors. They just didn't know. And the reason they didn't know is because their parents and teachers and and college professors told them the same thing. And your grandparents, great-grandparents, their teachers and professors told them the same thing. This has been going on for decade after decade, generation after generation after generation after generation, for hundreds of years. It's the wrong map. It's not your fault. Now, here's the problem, though. Here's another problem, I should say. Do you realize you can't unhear what you just heard? You can't unhear it. So now guess whose fault it is if you do the same thing the next 20 years that you did the last 20 years. That's your fault. If you finally wake up to the fact that your map doesn't work and you don't change, it's now 100% your fault. You've got to love your family. You've got to love yourself and change. Because if you're 42 plus, you've worked 20 years plus, you're not in the financial position that you want to be in, and you look your wife in the eye or husband and go, yeah, honey, let's do it another 20 years and see what happens. Let's roll the dice. Let's gamble. I can't think of anything to say that's not just terribly rude. That's just dumb. That's just dumb. We'll leave it at that. Don't do that. Now that you've heard what you've heard, and you understand that 95% of Americans fail to retire successfully by age 65, and you don't do anything about it, that's your fault. You're the freaking problem. It wasn't your fault up to this point, but now that you've heard this radio show today, guess whose fault it is? Yours. And you better start making changes. You better start doing the things that will make a difference for you and your family over the next 20 years. And by the way, I've got a free copy of The Richest Man in Babylon for you. Go to totalwealthacademy.com/books with an S. Get a free copy of The Richest Man in Babylon. totalwealthacademy.com/books. We'll talk more after the break here on the Total Wealth Academy radio show. Thanks for listening.
If you have money in an IRA, 401k, or other retirement account, you can use it to invest passively in real estate without tax or penalty. Our average rate of return is 3 times that of the stock market and mutual funds, with much less volatility. If you have over $70,000, you can start passive investing today. Please attend our free sample class to learn more. Go to TotalWealthAcademy.com. That's TotalWealthAcademy.com for reservations. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Total Wealth Academy radio show. I am your host, Steve Davis, where we've been talking about the map that people are given to success, which unfortunately came from people who were not successful. They can't help you. They can't help you. You got to love your parents, respect them, but you can't do what they did, because it didn't work, did it? Many of you are supporting your parents right now. I had to. I'm just fortunate that I was able to. yeah, the map doesn't work. But now that you know the map doesn't work, it is up to you. You are responsible to go educate yourself on the map that the wealthy use. And there's really two books you should read. The first one I can give you for free because it's, 70, 80 years old. That's The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. The second book is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. If you want to get a free copy of The Richest Man in Babylon, go to TotalWealthAcademy.com/books with an S. And it's there. You can download a PDF of it. But I highly recommend you get the audio. Go to Amazon.com or Audible.com, and Amazon owns Audible, so if you just go to Amazon.com, type in The Richest Man in Babylon, and it'll give you a choice to purchase the book or purchase the audio. The audio is extremely entertaining as well as educational because they use actors for each of the characters in the book. So it's told like a story, but it brings up the fact that for 3,000 years, the wealthy have always focused on building a second stream of income. And when you build a second stream of income, you have to understand that as soon as your second stream of income exceeds your bills, you're financially independent. You don't have to wait till 55, 60, 65, 70. You can do it at any age. I've seen kids in their 20s do it. I did it by the time I was 30. It has nothing to do with age. When you build a second stream of income, it allows you to, quote unquote, retire at any age. Now, as at the beginning of the show, retirement is not the goal, but it allows you to get out of jobs you hate. It allows you to get out of working 50, 60, 70 hours a week, which destroys your life. It allows you to do, this is Tony Robbins' definition of success, and I've kind of incorporated it into my life. It's the ability to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, with who you want to do it, and where you want to do it. That's success. Being able to spend the time with the loved ones that you want, to romance your spouse, to travel if that's your choice. It's the ability to do what you want, when you want, where you want. That's success. And very, very few people ever achieve that. And another point that I think is important, many of you follow Warren Buffett. You love Warren Buffett, you respect Warren Buffett, but not many of you listen to what Warren Buffett says. You look at him and go, wow, he's a billionaire, he's this, he's that, and you think he did it with stocks. He did not. He did it by buying companies. Read his book. He will tell you he never bought a stock. He always bought companies. But for 40 or 50 years, he's been saying, never depend on a single source of income, a job. Always invest to create a second source. And that's what the students at Total Wealth are doing. We're buying groups of single-family houses. I met a family the other day. They've got 23 rental houses. 10 of them are paid off. They're going to sell 13 of them, invest passively in apartments, and keep 10 of those rent houses that are paid in full, because that brings them about $10,000 a month in profit for the rest of their lives. They're done. The passive investing that they're going to do is all going to be icing on the cake. And they've got enough money to get up to about $20,000 a month in passive income. So they're going to probably have somewhere between $25,000 and $35,000 a month for the rest of their lives. All because they switched from the poor and middle class map to the map that the wealthy give their kids. You can switch too. And this is a brutal statement, but you must switch. It's not I should look into this. I should. No. You must switch your attitude. You must switch your map. Or you are the 95%. Saving your way to retirement doesn't work. No matter how much you save, it's highly probable that it will not be enough. I do this case study all the time. Guy saves up $5 million, retires. Sounds like enough money. He ran out of money at 95. He's 102 and still healthy. So for 7 years, he's been a burden on his kids. And what do you think his quality of lifestyle is now? You think it's the same as when he had $5 million in the bank? No, he's had to reduce his quality of lifestyle to almost nothing just to survive. Saving your way to retirement doesn't work. You must, I know that word is harsh, it's brutal, you must build a second stream of income. It's not an option. If you want to be in the 5% of Americans who do retire successfully, they've all got second streams of income, some of them third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Imitate successful people. Stop imitating your parents, your high school teachers, your college professors who are all broke, and start imitating successful people. It's the key to success. Andrew Carnegie put it this way. He said, stop trying to reinvent the wheel. It's all been done before. Simply go out and find people who have out of life what you want and imitate them. That's it. And if you put it again in a nutshell, that's all we're doing at Total Wealth Academy. We've just read hundreds, if not probably between us, 1,000 different books on finance and success. And we've just gleaned off the best ideas and put them in our Saturday class. So that when people come out of that Saturday class, they don't have to reinvent the wheel anymore. They can get out there and focus on what's truly important, and that is becoming financially independent, not retiring. That's not the goal. It's becoming financially independent. And then you see people quit their jobs, take 6 months off, and then come back, find a job or career that they truly love, or maybe a self-employment, and get back to work helping and serving other people. Because I'm telling you, that's where happiness lies. Wooden, the basketball coach, he described it this way: a life not in the service of others is not a life worth living. If you're not out there helping and serving other people, whether it's your spouse, your kids, your clients, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to be happy. So, all right. If you got questions or comments about the show today, please feel free to email me. It's steve@totalwealthacademy.com. Steve@totalwealthacademy.com. TotalWealthAcademy.com. Okay, Sandra has a question. She's just, Sandra, the Saturday class is explained in our free sample class. Just go to TotalWealthAcademy.com, TotalWealthAcademy.com, and click on the free sample class button there. I will send you a link. And anyone who's interested in learning how to build a second stream of income, go to our free sample class. That's the first step. Go to TotalWealthAcademy.com, click on the button there. Thanks for listening.
This show is for entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as legal, tax, or investing advice. Always get a professional opinion before making any investment decisions. To find out more about coaching and consulting at Total Wealth Academy, visit TotalWealthAcademy.com and attend one of our free sample classes on real estate investing. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.